Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the online Series 13 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the previous episode, we used an interesting team featuring Mewtwo, Volcanion, and Dialga, so I'll be playing a couple more matches with it today. If you've not seen the last episode, would recommend it, as we got to feature some of the fun sets on this team, so I'll link that in the description below. And yeah, thank you so much as always for watching Road to Ranked. If you enjoyed, please share your support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. Question of the day, I want to know what you think about Series 13 as we are in the final couple of days of the format. So let me know in the comment section below, and let's get started. We've got Kyogre, Calyrex, Zacian, Talonflame, Zeraora, and Yveltal. Very cool. It's a really speedy team. I think Dialga's quite strong here, but it has to worry about mainly Zacian, but maybe close combat from Zeraora as well. We've got our own Tailwind with Yveltal, but I'm not sure how effective that'll really be, because like they're just faster. I suppose I could stagger it though. Groudon is really solid, Zacian's solid, Volcanion is also very interesting, but maybe not that consistent here. I'm kind of down for the Yveltal Dialga lead. Bluff Tailwind or bluff Trick Room. And then have Groudon Zacian in the back. I don't know, it's kind of sad not to bring Mewtwo or Volcanion here, but I think Dialga is just very strong as a max option. I don't think Mewtwo offers us enough. If they didn't have Talon, I mean, it's like, the problem with Mewtwo here is that my opponent has so many Pokemon outspeed it, right? They have Calyrex, they have Zeraora, and then they have Talonflame, which can enable Tailwind as well. The advantage of this Mewtwo is mainly when you're not going up against Tailwind, so that you can Icy Wind, Speed Drop, and then Dialga can just KO something. But yeah, it's Talonflame, Calyrex. Like, what's Mewtwo really going to do here? This actually works out really well, I would argue. I almost want to consider not Dynamaxing on turn 1. I also have Sucker Punch with Yveltal. But like maybe Calyrex goes for Imprison? That could be a possibility. I probably should max. Okay, I'm gonna go for Steel Spike on a Calyrex here. What are their max options? Kyogre? Maybe Quake is better. Quake and foul play. I'm not going to Sucker Punch here because even if I were to Sucker Punch it... Ooh. What? Is Calyrex maxing? Well, maybe I should have Sucker Punched. I'm going to guess it's max... Well, okay, even if you're max Starfall, though, we have Roselli Berry. So I do not think this is going to work out too well for them. But let's see. Definitely did not expect Dynamax Calyrex. Like in my head, I was preparing for, okay, we KO Calyrex, what comes in Dynamaxes? I thought that answer would be Kyogre. Okay, so we're going to get Max Dialga out. Let's see what they do. Interesting. They just go for Phantasm. Maybe... Okay. I see now. I think my opponent was basically like, oh, if Trick Room goes up, I am absolutely screwed. So why don't I get a defense drop and then Flare Blitz you? Yep. That's actually really smart. I think that's very clever. Yeah, because my opponent recognized like, hey, if Tailwind goes, or sorry, if Trick Room goes up against me, I just lose this game right now, given my lead. So that actually makes a lot of sense. But yeah, we don't even have Trick Room on the Dialga here. So now I get a KO. I get a special defense boost. Maybe they bring out Zacian. Bring out Zacian, they could Tailwind and then like Sacred Sword or play rough Yveltal. So that turn one honestly could have gone a little bit better for me. Part of the problem is like, yeah, Dialga's alive, but I don't have speed control. If I'd actually clicked Tailwind with Yveltal, I would have been better off, but I just didn't really anticipate my opponent's play there. That was really cool. Okay, so let's see. I think, where do we want to go from here? If Zacian come... Oh, it's actually Zeraora. That's kind of surprising. I guess I do have a defense drop, though, so you can pressure a KO onto either. But I expect to survive Flare Blitz. I've got Groudon and Zacian in the back. I think here I'm down to just Wormwind into Talonflame and Tailwind. I don't think you can KO both Pokemon here. Ooh, I also had Sucker Punch potential from Yveltal. But if I had gone for it, they would have been able to quick guard it. And a close combat Dialga. That works for me. It's been a really fast-paced game, but now this Tailwind is huge because they Flare Blitzed earlier, so they don't have Gale Wings anymore, which is really big. And without Gale Wings, I should be able to just outpace them with my speed advantage and snowball this game heavily. Yeah, we can go on to Zacian here. I guess my other fear is Foul Play doesn't KO Talonflame. I could double up on Talonflame to cover for it, though, no? It would allow Zeraora to get an Electro Web off, maybe. I think it's fine even if Talonflame survives here. Like, I'm down to just Sacred Sword and Foul Play. I guess the risk is both Pokemon hanging on. I wouldn't expect Flare Blitz to KO Zacian. Talonflame's base attack is actually pretty mediocre. Zeraora could maybe one-shot Yveltal. Okay, Sacred Sword does get the KO, though. Nice. I was just like, I don't know, if you're super bulky with both and you survive both, that would be a problem for me. Talonflame was bulky enough to survive. Okay, so it gets Tailwind up, but that's okay. The other thing is that a lot of Zeraoras don't carry Protect, so I felt fairly good about the Sacred Sword into that slot. And there's Zacian, yeah. We have Groudon in the back, so Talonflame's for real, Tailwind, Quick Guard, Flare Blitz. I assume Dual Wing Beat. It'd be really surprising to not see that. I'm here to just guarantee the KO onto Talonflame, so I'm down to Sucker Punch and Behemoth Blade it. Get that out of the way, and then force this to be a 2v1 with Groudon in the back. And they're not going to Quick Guard here. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is because they revealed Quick Guard earlier. They're like, maybe my opponent isn't going to go for priority attacks anymore. But I don't have any reason not to go for that double up, even if you Quick Guard. As long as you don't crit my Zacian, Behemoth Blade will KO your Talonflame, right? That actually one-shot my Yveltal. Wow. That wasn't a crit. I wonder if it's admin. I should know my Yveltal damage calcs a little bit better, but with this exact EV spread, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, that looks like Zacian with no bulk, so I wouldn't be surprised if it were just admin max attack or Jolly max attack, which would make sense. Ultimately, I think this game highlights a pretty interesting concept, which is my opponent making a play to cover for an option that I don't even have. But it makes so much sense for them to be worried about Trick Room, because if you look at their team, it's so fast-paced, right? So they're like, okay, I'm just going to go for this Dynamax. It's my best way to deal with it. I guess also the Dynamax made sense, because if you look at the rest of my opponent's team, it was Talonflame, Zacian, Zeraora, right? Like, what are you going to Dynamax out of any of those, right? Calyrex seems like the best option. Otherwise, like, you're not going to max Talonflame. You can't max Zacian. So the other alternative is Zeraora, but that doesn't feel really strong in the matchup. So my opponent also ended up being kind of limited based off their Pokemon selection here. If they had Kyogre, maybe that's a better max option. Yeah, and so it's Mystic Water, Sash Calyrex, Classic Zacian, Sharp Beak. Yep, that makes sense. You've got Brave Bird here instead of Dual Wing Beat. I like Dual Wing Beat more so you can KO Whimsicott, but yeah. Plasma Fist, Close Combat, Electro Web, Fake Out. And then Weakness Policy, Yveltal. Okay, cool. This next team is really fun. There's Calyrex Ice Rider, Magearna, and Zygarde. So it's like, you feel like it's a slow-paced team, but then they also have Whimsicott, Kyogre, Yveltal. I guess the upside is that Dialga's pretty solid, whether or not they have Trick Room or Tailwind. They don't have that much to hit in. Dialga offensively is so good into my opponent's team. It actually hits everything for super effective damage, which is wild. So the only question we should be answering is, how does my opponent beat Dialga? Zygarde Max Quakes, Light Screen Whimsicott. I think they're just really Dialga weak here. I'm down to give Mewtwo a shot here. Will-O-Wisp is really valuable in a Zygarde and Calyrex. So we'll go Mewtwo Dialga. I think just Groudon and Zacian. Volcanion is cool, but I think fundamentally you can just see that it's hard to justify bringing often in matchups because, like, with choice specs, you really need to have full conviction that it can come out and deal large amounts of damage. I just don't necessarily have that conviction here. And then with Yveltal, like, I guess I could bring it for my own Tailwind, especially with Roselli Berry. But I don't think it's really that valuable. So we'll see. But it's interesting, yeah, like, if you look at my opponent's composition, I just don't know which way they're leaning in terms of speed. Do you want to go fast with Tailwind or slow with Trick Room? Whimsicott Kyogre. Okay, works for me. I mean, I can just go for Psystrike and Max Lightning once again. Or say once again for the first time. And just pick up a KO there. They're not Choice Scarf Kyogre. Like, I don't know, Tailwind Water Spout here is, I think, a possible play. They could theoretically Dynamax Kyogre, but I'm not sure you want to do that. If I had Volcanion, I guess it would actually be an interesting position to switch into Volcanion, but we don't have it, so I'm down to just go for the Lightning here. They have no switch-ins into Max Lightning other than Zygarde, but if Zygarde comes in, I get a decent Psystrike off into it. You'd also have to be pretty careful about switching in Zygarde, because not all Dialgas even carry Max Lightning, and if I were to just Warm Wind Zygarde as it switches in, that would be no good. So they're staying in, and no Dynamax here, which makes sense. I expect Tailwind Water Spout. I guess they could Trick Room with Whimsicott. That is also a possibility. Actually, if they Trick Room here, they Water Spell, and then bring in Calyrex Ice Rider, I think I'm actually in pretty bad shape. Maybe I should have thought about that. Whimsicott is not Tailwinding, so that is not good for me. Psystrike crits, that's a ton of damage. Ends up being one of the saddest water spells you'll ever see. Kyogre actually faints from Life Orb as well. So it's a lucky crit for sure, and I get a Lightning off. But the problem is Trick Room is now going up, right? I guess what's interesting, though, is that I have Will-O-Wisp from the Calyrex. Let's say you bring out the... Sorry, yeah, I have Will-O-Wisp on Mewtwo for Calyrex. Let's say you bring out Calyrex Ice Rider. You could go for Dynamax, Quake into Dialga, but then I could Will-O-Wisp Steel Spike, which would be amazing. Or you could try to KO the Mewtwo slot, but then I'd get a Life Orb Steel Spike off. The other question is... Oh, they actually bring out Magearna. Okay, that works for me. I like the idea of going for Max Quake here on a Magearna and then switching Mewtwo out into Groudon. I guess the only hesitation here is if it's a weakness policy Magearna, they Dynamax Starfall, I'd take some damage, but then you get a stronger Starfall the next turn. Anyway, that Psystrike damage was pretty nutty on Kyogre, so I'll gladly take it, but obviously we got lucky getting a crit there. It meant that Water Spot essentially did no damage. Okay, so they're going to Dynamax here. Yep. I mean, what does Whimsicott go for now? Fake Tears is my main concern. It could be a Light Screen. Oh, that works. Okay. Encore and Steel Spike. Sure, I'll take that. Yeah, so I actually survived. Like, that did 103 damage. And so even if we didn't get a special defense boost via Quake, I could maybe survive. The question now is whether or not they're weakness policy. But it's Shuka Berry. Okay, excellent. So now I should definitely survive another attack from Magearna. What you want to do when you're fighting against Magearna is essentially not give it the opportunity to snowball too quickly. And so making sure that it doesn't, like, get KOs as soon as it hits the field is really important. Because this Pokemon otherwise is a menace. But now with that special defense boost, I'm feeling quite good. 3 turns of Trick Room left. I think here maybe they Max Guard. I might actually want to Steel Spike here to get a defense boost for... But, like, would they really have Calyrex in the back if they haven't brought it out yet? That's my question. But I'm down to Steel Spike Precipice Blades. Yeah, they Max Guard. The reason I'm okay with that, though, is because, like, Whimsicott's not really doing much here. Yeah, it's just Charm. That's fine. Charm is annoying, but you're stalling out your own Trick Room right now, right? And Magearna's not really doing that much damage to either Pokemon still, which is good for me. And now, so I could have gotten the guaranteed KO onto Whimsicott with Steel Spike, but the reason I didn't want to do that is because I actually don't want my opponent to get a free switch in and bring out something that offers more offense. For example, if we KO Whimsicott there and Calyrex Ice Rider comes out, I actually can very quickly lose this game. Now, though, there's only 2 turns of Trick Room, right? And so we'll be able to stall it out most likely. Groudon's Charmed. I probably want to switch that out, honestly. Yeah, I'm down to Flash Cannon Whimsicott here, get the KO, switch Groudon out into Mewtwo. Because I want the endgame to be Zacian paired next to Groudon, ideally, but if Dialga is hanging around, that's even better. And I am trying to KO Whimsicott now because I don't want it to set up a late game Tailwind. Yeah, they just Charm again. Cool, that works. And Starfall, that's fine. Yep, on a Dialga. We survived that, beautiful. The thing about Shuka Magearna is like without Life Orb or Weakness Policy, your damage output isn't that strong, so I can leverage that to my advantage. I think the one tricky thing here is this next turn, both of my Pokemon are left pretty exposed, but even if they have Calyrex Ice Rider in the back and they get a double KO, Trick Room ends, the end game then becomes Groudon plus Zacian, right? And then I can just Behemoth Blade, Calyrex Ice Rider, Precipice Blades, or Heat Crash into Magearna. So we should be in a pretty good spot right now. I think if they had Calyrex in the back, they should have brought it out first, and it actually is Calyrex in the back. But I guess they were probably afraid, hey, Calyrex is so weak into Dialga. But in my head, I was like, with Calyrex, you can get a Max Quake special defense boost before I Steel Spike you. And this is also exactly the reasoning why I didn't want to KO Whimsicott sooner, right? So let's double check the board states. The last turn of Trick Room. My one fear now is Focus Sash Calyrex, because we still haven't actually confirmed a Sash anywhere. You do have a defense boost as well. That actually could pose some problems for me, no? I think the plan is to just give up both Pokemon here. Flash Cannon, Psy Strike. But they should just Dazzling and Glacial Lance right now. So like this endgame just became really scary, right? Because I'm staring down two Pokemon that are fully boosted up. But I don't really want to make any switches here. I guess I could have pivoted Mewtwo out into Zacian potentially. But if they read into that high horsepower, I could actually just throw the game. It also could be Babiri Calyrex, which also concerns me. Okay. I guess the thing, though, is that... Well, I was going to say Calyrex is only at +1. I do have Quick Attack as well. Yeah, I actually didn't really take into account the defense boost Magearna got. Also, I'm actually not sure which does more damage between Heat Crash and Precipice Blades. Just not enough experience, and with Magearna's weight. I don't know if it can survive, though. Okay, I'm just going to go for Blades and Precipice... Behemoth Blade into Calyrex Precipice Blades here. The fear is Calyrex Protect, Magearna tries to Trick Room. So I thought about the idea of doubling into Magearna, but if Magearna protects Calyrex Trick Rooms, that's just instantly game over. So it's like they'd have to find the right play here, and they don't end up protecting. Okay, cool. So we're just hoping for no Focus Sash here. Yeah, good. Alright, that should be game over. I don't think Magearna can win against Zacian, even if they set up Trick Room here, and I miss Precipice Blades. Granted, Magearna did get another special attack boost. It's at +3, but that's still not enough for Zacian. So single target Precipice Blades here. And that does get the KO. Okay, wonderful. Mewtwo put in a ton of work in this early game, just getting that single Psy Strike off into Kyogre and putting so much damage onto it. So yeah, Mewtwo isn't really seen as like a super strong Pokemon, but it can dish out large amounts of damage. Now granted, I get a critical hit there, but even without the crit, still would have done over like 50-60%-ish, which would have been super nice damage. So yeah. Let's check their team here. Sash Whimsicott with Tailwind and Trick Room with that Encore. Life Orb Kyogre, Max. Leftover Zygarde. Max Speed, Max HP. 1000 Arrows, Glare, Coil, Protect. Weakness Policy, Calyrex. Salt Vest, Yveltal. And then Shuka on Magearna. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, Groudon, Kyogre, Zacian, Lunala, Yveltal, and Whimsicott. Pretty reminiscent of some of the teams we used earlier in the format. One that featured Charizard over like Yveltal and got to rank #1. I think once again it's a good matchup for Dialga, but I am worried about Snarl, like Whimsicott Yveltal lead. I don't know, setting up our own Tailwind with Yveltal here is intriguing, I think. I honestly want to give Volcanion a shot here. Yeah, I don't love Mewtwo. So, I'll bring Volcanion over Mewtwo. Yveltal, Volcanion, Dialga. The debate between Zacian and Groudon here is interesting. I think it's a lot more consistent if we drop Volcanion for one of the two, but I want to give it a shot. think I like... Both are solid here, yeah. We could really go with either. Trying to figure out which one is really better. I'll go with Groudon, I guess, because it's Assault Vest and it has Shadow Claw to hit Lunala. But that was kind of a arbitrary way to decide which one to bring. So let's see. Would love to get Tailwind up. Dialga's looking decent into their whole entire team. It's Whimsicott and Groudon. Okay. I mean, this is interesting because I essentially can Dynamax. Well, no. They could just Tailwind plus Max Quake turn 1. But then I'd stagger my Tailwind by a turn, which doesn't feel that bad. I could also switch Volcanion out right now. I don't hate the idea of that. Yeah, but I guess maybe my Groudon's more effective than Volcanion. It also depends on how fast Groudon is relative to Volcanion here. I also don't necessarily need a Tailwind this turn. I could Tailwind next turn. Okay, I'm gonna Tailwind and switch into Groudon. Basically, the idea here is I'm trying to stall out Groudon's Dynamax right now. I led Volcanion to try to counter like Zacian or Kyogre. That didn't work out as well as I would have liked. So we gotta make some adjustments. Yeah, they're gonna max. That's fine. I also think it's just better to Tailwind here because they might have like Max Rock Fall or Click Max Rock Fall. I would expect them to have it. Okay. Yeah, so they Tailwind. I would Quake the Volcanion slot personally, but yeah. It's going to be a somewhat tricky early game to maneuver through, I think. But if we can make it out, it would be huge. The problem is the Groudon here doesn't really have speed investment, so they should still outpace me with Groudon next turn. But I at least match their Tailwind, and then so like when Dialga comes in, I can put in some work maybe. I think I'm down to just Foul Play here. You know what? I actually don't mind Foul Playing the Whimsicott to break Focus Sash so I can Steel Spike that slot later on. And I'll Heat Crash in case they target Yveltal here instead of Groudon. Okay, they set up Light Screen. That makes sense. Light Screen and then another Quake into Groudon makes sense. I'm getting increasingly concerned now, though, about how I am beating Groudon. Because Dynamax Dialga ain't really it. It's like they're at +2 special defense and they have Light Screen up. That is no good for us. What else can I do, though? And slowly just whittle away. Yeah, I don't really think I have an alternative, honestly. I think we just bring out Dialga, Dynamax here, Steel Spike, Whimsicott, Foul Play, Groudon. So, Foul Play, Groudon, Max, Steel Spike into Whimsicott. What do I think they're going to have in the back? Kyogre, Zacian, Yveltal, Lunala. I would guess Zacian and then Kyogre personally, but Yveltal could make sense. I did want to bring Volcanion specifically for the Zacian and the Kyogre. Okay, so we're going to max. Don't love seeing Helping Hand. Okay. I'll play. It's actually pretty decent damage. Oh, they're faster. That's not good. Does that just KO me? It almost does. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure I can recover from that. I needed... Well, even if I were faster, I guess I still would have taken so much damage. No, but if I were faster, I'd at least be able to outpace them next turn. Like, now I just don't really see the vision in beating Groudon. Also, oh my gosh. Whimsicott got in so many special defense boosts through Light Screen and the Max Quakes that I can't even KO there. That's hilarious. Well, I say it's hilarious, but maybe it's not that funny for me. I don't really see a way to win this, to be honest. Foul Play does such minimal damage. You outpace me. Oh, so sad, so sad. I guess I should have, I mean, it was just a helping hand I didn't anticipate. And like, yeah, you can see the speed tiers here, but like, Dialga only has a little bit of speed investment. A lot of Groudons are like, you know, just slightly higher than that. Last turn a Tailwind on both ends. I can go for Foul Play into Sucker Punch crit, I think. How was I supposed to break through Whimsicott Groudon? Mewtwo would have been able to Will-O-Wisp. So I was like, hey, Mewtwo, you don't really have much to do here, but actually there was a decent opportunity for it. They went for Helping Hand. What are they going for? Rock Tomb. Okay, I don't think that KOs. Maybe we still have a shot then. Very surprised they just ignored the Dialga slot. So I get a free attack off. And also, oh my gosh. That did no damage. I mean, this game highlights the value of Light Screen Whimsicott, right? That's why it's a set that's been picking up a lot, and it's been especially strong, I think, in Series 13. Tailwind Peter's out on both ends. I mean, I've got Sucker Punch. And Heat Wave. But I think this is kind of doomed. We fell behind way too quickly. Really nice lead, though. Like, Whimsicott Groudon is not actually a lead I feel like you expect to see very frequently. But one, the Groudon was a little bit faster here, allowing my opponent to outpace me. Two, the Whimsicott had Light Screen, which was a pretty big problem. And three, I ended up having a really poor lead of Volcanion into Groudon, essentially forcing me to switch out, which was no good for us as well. So they're going to Tailwind, and I'll get a double KO here if Heat Wave connects, but then they just have two sweepers to bring out and sweep me with, right? I miss Heat Wave. And the sun fades. I think it's so crazy seeing a Whimsicott survive like a max steel spike from Dialga, but we managed to get the weird circumstance where that was actually able to happen in this game. Anyway, Kyogre comes out. I am stuck clicking Heat Wave. Yeah, I mean, I could have locked myself into like Steam Eruption, I suppose. I'll Sucker Punch Heat Wave here. Helping Hand. I feel like if you're going for Helping Hand, you should Helping Hand Thunder into something. It's actually really good damage. Yeah, it's Thunder. I don't think Volcanion's surviving. Sad. But I think fundamentally, it just highlights how Volcanion is not exactly a super good pick in this format, right? Unfortunately, just with the prevalence of Kyogre and Groudon, those two alone make it tough. Wild Charge on Zacian as well. But that's not to say Volcanion is bad. I just didn't really bring it out in a good position here. And I chose to lead it to try to counter like Whimsicott, Zacian, Kyogre combinations. In the end, though, even though I said I can use it to counter Kyogre, like Kyogre can just Thunder me exactly like what just happened. So it's not even necessarily a counter per se. But yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you so much as always for watching as we finish up Series 13. Just a couple days left in the format. Leave a like if you enjoy. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all soon. All right. Peace.